Hey everybody, I am Jessie Shireen. I am a director in Northern Minnesota. A bunch of people were wanting me to talk about fundraisers, so I'm just going to go ahead and record this, and then I'll post it to the director group, and then I'm also going to obviously use it for my own team. So I did make some notes because I'll rattle on if I don't kind of have a game plan. So the first thing people usually ask me about fundraisers is kind of, where do you get your fundraisers? How do you market them? Where do they come from? So the first thing I always do is I tend to mention them at my cooking shows. People locally know that I do fundraisers, so they kind of expect me to mention them at my cooking shows. So that is the first way I do get fundraisers. I also have reached out to different churches, school groups, dance teams, bands, choirs, grad blast, which is a thing in Minnesota. I don't know if they have that all over the United States, but we have it in Minnesota. If you have questions about that, just ask. Mission trips and anybody else that needs to raise funds. I try to make sure I have a connection with someone within the organization or group, the team, whatever, a parent, someone that's going on the mission trip, anything like that. So I try to find a connection within the group to get that connection started, kind of to get the conversation started, I guess. For instance, last year, I did, and this is why I am getting the recognition for doing great fundraisers. I did a fundraiser with our parent-teacher organization at our elementary school, and the president, her son and my son were on the same baseball team. So I don't know if it's okay, but I use those connections to kind of further get the fundraisers set up, and it really has worked to my benefit. My son went on a mission trip with his grandma a few years ago, so we did a fundraiser through the church. Oh, hi, Debbie. I just started. I'm actually recording, so if you need to watch from the beginning, I've just kind of gone over where I get fundraisers and that kind of stuff. But I figured I'd start a couple minutes ago. So I'm just gonna go on. So I just said, Debbie, just to recap, the first question people usually ask me is, where do I get fundraisers and how do I market them? So long story short, I market at cooking shows. I always mention them. And then I also reach out to different organizations and groups, churches, school groups, dance teams, bands, choirs, grad blast, which, like I said before, is a thing here in Minnesota. I don't know if everybody has that, different mission trips and many more. And then I try to make sure I have a connection with someone within that organization, and I use that connection to kind of turn it into a fundraiser. As I'm going on, Debbie, you are the only one on, but if you have any questions, just stop me, okay? So when I go to market my fundraisers, I let everybody know that Pampered Chef gives 10 to 15% depending on the sales. And then I offer to kick in an additional 10% of my commission. So we make 15 or 17, and then we get our overrides and everything. But I donate 10% of that if the fundraiser reaches 600. I think it gives them a reason to reach 600 for sure, so that I at least know that it's going to be that much. And then that obviously equals 25%. Another thing I do is I have the group set a big goal. So I usually take a certain amount of sales per person collecting orders, and I make it a big number. So like $100 per person collecting orders, or maybe 200, depending on the organization. And then if they hit that big number, whatever that goal is that we set as a team, I will donate an additional 5%. And okay, so then I rarely have groups that actually do that, but as a director, and then I'm also an elite seller, and then I have my career sales bonus, I make 22%. So when I do hit it, I'm still making 7% to cover the cost of my catalogs, any mileage, printing order forms, and all of that kind of stuff. I don't do fundraisers to make money. I want to stress that wholeheartedly. This is not something I do to make money. I just do them to help the organizations, and then obviously I want to get the points towards the trip, leads for future shows, and leads for future customers. All right, so now I'm going to talk about how I set them up. Depending on the numbers of people collecting orders, I usually do a full-size catalog. If it's like a band, in my area, our bands are maybe like 50 to 100 kids. So if it's a band or a choir organization, I will do a full-size catalog. I throw an order form in there, and then I also give them a letter explaining how to figure out the orders, that all of my orders are direct ship because I'm on direct ship now, and that I do a booking bonus. Pampered Chef gives $3 for every booking, and that's included in the check. And then I throw in an extra $7, so it's an even 10 when that show holds. So I don't give them the money until the show holds, because I am basically paying them what's part of my commission from the new booking. If it's a really large group like the elementary school I did last year, it took a lot of talking me into doing this, but I did mini catalogs instead because we have 740 kids in our elementary school, and it just wasn't going to be cost effective to give all 740 kids a full-size catalog. So I did use the minis, still included a letter, and the PTO kind of edited my letter a little bit and put the most important parts in, which was fine with me. I don't need to control every situation. But I do put a little label, a name tag label with all of the information on the front of the mini catalog, the link to the party, how to get to the full-size catalog online, and all of that. So then they can go to the website and shop via the link. With the large one we did last fall, I also left about 25 catalogs in the school office, and I got about 20 of them back at the end of the fundraiser. That fundraiser was $94.75, and about 7,000 of it came in via the website. So when I went to the PTO to collect the rest, it was about $14.75 in paper orders. If we do it again this fall, which I'm thinking we're going to, we are actually not going to do much in the idea of paper orders, because for them and for me, it just wasn't worth the extra work of handing out the catalogs when you can just do a letter with the link to the catalog. It makes it much easier. I always set up a group or an event with the fundraiser on Facebook, and I post in them just like I do my virtual parties, which I do a Wednesday to Saturday post, and I let them know the start and close date. So I will usually run it in the middle. So if we do a 3-week fundraiser, I run the virtual part of it the middle week, and I will just do a few, like we use that first week to get people in the group, and then we use that last week just to kind of finish things up. Fundraisers are really about who you know and reaching out to them, and just let others know how, then they will let other people know how you did as a consultant. If you made it easy, what you donated. People talk, and this business is all about word of mouth and creating relationships. And so that's really how I've built my fundraiser status up, I guess, is by making relationships. And at the end of the fundraiser, or as orders come in, depending on how chaotic my life is, I will email every single person as they order, or at the end of the fundraiser, thanking them for their orders. And then I also make sure that they got their items. So I tend to do that towards the end of the fundraiser, because with direct ship now, my people are getting their orders well before the fundraiser is even over. Most of my personal fundraisers have been with family and friends, and then others that have referred me. So I do one with a local high school band, and someone in that town referred me, and that the band teacher was actually at a cooking show where I talked about it. And I've done almost $6,000 in sales with them just last year on fundraisers, in 2 separate fundraisers. They did one in February and then one again in December. Another way I actually do my fundraisers too is, instead of setting it up as a fundraiser, I will put it in as a cooking show, and then I let the organization take the free products, and then they usually put them like on a silent auction or a live auction or something like that. And then I will let them, I also give them 20% of my commission. Usually this is a church thing that is going on a mission trip, and they usually do like a meal to raise funds. So then they put the items on a silent auction. So I'm pretty flexible when it comes to that kind of stuff. I've done that a few times, not just with churches, I guess. I do have one other organization that family's son died, and they do a motorcycle ride every year, and they do a silent auction at the end of the motorcycle ride. And so they will also take the money or take the products. And then I also give them 20%. Like I said, not about money, you guys, it's about points. Grad Blast is something that they do we do here in Minnesota. They do a big party for the seniors graduating after graduation, I want to say. And I've done this every single year for the last 5 years. And what we do for the Grad Blast is kind of the same thing. They take the products from the fundraiser and then give them to the kids, which they do like pizza cutters and micro cookers and popcorn poppers and pasta cookers and that kind of stuff, and give that to the kids. And then I also donate the 20% to them in order to, so they can fund their decorations and other prizes and stuff that they give the kids. Just some stats from my fundraisers over the last couple of years. Obviously last year it's going to be super high because I had that huge one. My high end was $94.75. Low end was $262, so not great. But my average last year was $32.70, and I did 5 fundraisers over the course of the 12 months. In 2017, I did 4 fundraisers, and my average is about $15.75. So they're not always huge, but they are extra points. So really that's all I have. I know, Debbie, you're the only one on, but do you have any questions for me in the meantime?
I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, great. Sorry. I didn't know I was off mute. So thank you so much. I apologize for being late to this.
Oh,
I
that's all right.
got sidetracked and looked at the clock. So anyway, no, I don't. I've done a few fundraisers over the years, and some of them sound a lot like what you do, but it's been a few years since I have done one, and I really am looking to get back into them. Right. Because I'm now retired from my full-time job for the last year and looking for every way I can to basically, like you, earn points.
Yep. Yep.
I want the points more than the sales, in other words. Yep. So.
Yep, absolutely. I totally get that. I try to market honestly for the last, I've been with Pampered Chef for 14 years, and I've been trying to get more every single year, and they come and go. It seems like people are always raising funds, but last year when I did the PTO fundraiser, I had one of the members it struck me. She said, well, when we do if we're doing a Pampered Chef fundraiser, then you're making money on us. And I said, no, you have to realize that I'm not. And any company you do a fundraiser with is making more money than I would make. So I feel like there might be a little stigma attached to us. So that's probably why I donate most of my commission, because I want them to know, you guys, like, I'll give you all the totals, and this is not rocket science. The only thing I get is a write-off and trip points, which is great. Don't get me wrong. But it's still, yeah. So anyway, that's all though. I don't feel like I do anything extraordinary. I just think I got super lucky that our 740 kids, collected orders. Now, only about 80 of the kids collected orders out of that 700. So the number was quite small. I hope this year it'll be more kids will collect. You know what I mean? So, anyway, but yeah, so that's all I've got. It was a short but sweet little webinar, I guess. So.
No, it's wonderful. And I so appreciate you doing this.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.